Hello, my name is Gazanfer and welcome to the introduction to the section of matrix and cards. Let's go through what we're going to learn in this lesson. Basically, the matrix and card visualizations are a very good way to visualize your data. The matrix visualization is near to the table visualization, but it's different in its own way. The matrix visualization offers more of dimensions and hierarchies, and that's where we're going to learn in this lesson how we can use those dimensions and those hierarchies to change or format our matrix and use it according to our requirements. Another thing that we're going to learn is multi-row visualization, which is of course a useful feature in your data visualization where you can visualize your data as cards but in rows with more fields. Another way you're going to visualize your data in this section is cards. Cards is pretty much a straightforward way of visualization of your data where you use one value or magnitude. So I hope you're keen in learning through this section, and I hope to see you in the next lessons as well. Hello, my name is Gazanfer and welcome back to this lesson. In this lesson, we'll be learning about how we're going to be creating a matrix visualization. Now, what are matrix visualizations? Basically, they're similar to tables, but they have more dimensions. So in this lesson, we'll be learning how we're going to be cross-filtering matrices, how we're going to be working around the different dimensions in matrices, and also how we're going to filter data from one matrix to another, or how we're going to basically filter one table with another matrix. So let's get right to it. Let's just go to our Power BI desktop, and over here we have our dashboard over here. What we're gonna do first is we're gonna put in some values, and so we've put in manufacturer. Let's put in product sub product category, and right now we're just working around with the table, so let's just put in a profit as well. And as you can see, the values are loaded over here, and since we've got the values ready, you can see that the values are very elongated, and uh, especially when you go to your value tab and increase the font size, it's pretty easy to see that this table is one that is very hard to examine. And when you're working with data analysis, you'll notice that one thing that is very important to you is how compact your data is and how it should be easier to work around with it. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to click on the matrix visualization under the visualizations tab, and let's just click on the matrix visualization. And as you can see already from the demo graph that um, it shows us some features regarding the rows, the uh, columns, and the values, and it gives us an idea that this has more dimensions than tables, of course. So let's just put our manufacturer in our rows, and let's put our channels in our columns, and for value, let's just work around with profit. I think that's pretty fair and easy to see. Let's just close this, and let's look at the different values we have available over here. So as you can see, our matrix has been made over here, and regarding the fact that we've used channel, manufacturer, and profit, our table or matrix, let we should say, is still very compact and easier to view than a table would be. So let's just go to our area of formatting and format the text size for it to be more visible. And as you can see, it has a lot of different dimensions available to it, and a lot that we can add, of course, to it. So Basically, what we want to do right now is we want to look at the rows area, the columns area, and the values area, and we want to examine them and use them accordingly to the matrix. So let's just go ahead and take the channel and put them in the rows area and see what happens. And as you can see, a hierarchy system has been made. In this lesson, we'll be learning a lot about hierarchies. So before we get right to it, we know that the two hierarchies that are available is the profit by manufacturer and the profit by channels. So over here we have the drill down options. We have the option of moving down the hierarchy because currently it's on the top hierarchy, and we have the option of moving above a hierarchy as well. We have other options available there as well. So as you can see, when you click on the next hierarchy, it goes to channel profit by channel, and over here the four channels and their profits are displayed. You can click on or click off the drill downs, but as that is something we're gonna be working on in a while. Right now, let's just go back to our above our hierarchy, and as you can see, it was pretty easy to do. You just had to click the above button and the arrow key that symbolized going above, and it was very easy to see. Let's just click on the drill down. You can easily click it on and click it off. You can easily go down a hierarchy by clicking down a hierarchy. You can easily go above a hierarchy to go back to our manufacturer values, of course, and you can easily turn on or turn off your drill downs. Now, basically, what are drill downs and how we're going to be working across them. Before we do that, let's just add a value to our columns, which is the price. But I believe that it isn't a very good decision because prices are pretty much scattered. So let's just close the price option and maybe add our region instead, because it's much easier to view regions right now instead. So let's just click on to switch on the drill down option, and easily, as you can see, when you click on any on Fabricam, for example, it has taken us down to the channels and the manufacturing areas of Fabricam, and you can drill down into other features, basically the other values of your matrix, just by clicking on it when you have your drill down feature on, of course. And we've come back to the main manufacturer of channel area, of course, and we've clicked on our drill down feature once again, and it's really easy to see how it has brought us to Asia, Europe, North America, and has segregated our data and drilled down to our data to view more values, of course, where we can look at certain manufacturers and the certain regions instead of this elongated data where it's very elongated, as you can see. So basically, using the drill down option is pretty easy, and when you've got it switched off, no matter how much you click on anything on the matrix, you can see that it does not produce an output right now. You can easily choose to move around your matrix and compress it and work around with it as well. Right now, what we want to do is we want to move it to the side, and as you can see, we're creating another table right now to see how it filters. So we've got our country values available over here, and we've got our other values available over here as well. So when we click on our matrix, it's pretty easy to see that the other table is also filtered accordingly. And the fun fact about this is that when you click on a region, the region and the manufacturer both have been segregated to themselves as well, and the table next to it, the table next to the matrix, can be easily filtered as well. So as you can see, we can easily filter our data, and we can easily use the matrix to filter other parts of the tables as metrics. So I hope you've understood how to create matrix and how matrix are very useful to create dimensions and how they can be used to understand and compress our data even better. Thank you. Hello, my name is Gazanfer and welcome to this lesson. In the previous lesson, we learned about tables and how tables work and the different ways we could aggregate the data in our table. In this lesson, we're going to learn about matrix and the different methods of aggregating our matrix and how we can aggregate the data in our matrix. So let's get right to it. Let's go to our Power BI desktop. And over here, as you can see, I've got a table ready over here. I can easily click on values, and while click on different values, as you can see, I can filter both the tables. So right now, since one table has been gone, you can see I can only filter the table that is being shown over here. So let's get right to our settings, and in our format section, let's look at our text size, and over here let's increase our text size. When you can move around your table or matrix, and you can work around it in the area given to you. Over here you can also work around with your different values. So we've got region over here, and we can go to our region areas, and we can work around with the values over here. So basically you can make an average, or you have other values given. You can go to the minimum, or you could even go to the maximum, and in this way you can aggregate your different values. You have the sum option. When you click on your sum option, it gives you the sum as well, and in this way you can aggregate your data accordingly. Let's add cost of sales, another field, to our data, and as you can see now there is double data in our field areas as well, and which has caused an elongation into our table or on the horizontal basis. However, there is a way we can change this. Let's just go and work around with our subtotals first. So as you can see, when you go to your subtotals and you go down, you can easily work around by switching on and off the totals, and you can see that the subtotals can be switched on or it can be switched off. This way you can view them, or you can also not view them. Along with this, you can also go to your values area and go down and check to change the rows, um, and make them more vertical rather than horizontal for space issues. You may not want your table to be based horizontally, so you'll have to work on them vertically, and this is how you can do it. So as you can see, our table has become more vertically inclined rather than horizontally inclined, and this has saved us a lot of space. And instead of scrolling from right to left, it has become easier for us to scroll up and down so that we can work around with our data with much ease. So in this lesson, we've learned how to aggregate our data and how to work around with it horizontally or vertically. I hope you all understood. Thank you. Hello, my name is Kazan and welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we'll be learning about how to calculate percentages for matrix. We learned about this in our previous section of tables as well. However, this is a much extended topic in matrices because matrices has more dimensions available to them. So with different dimensions, we're going to study the different type of percentages that we have available to us. So let's get right to it. Let's go to our Power BI desktop. Over here we have a matrix available over here, and we can see that the different manufacturers and the different channels have been totaled up, both vertically and horizontally. And what we want to do right now is we want to have a look at our different rows, columns, and our values. So basically what we want to do is we want to change all these values that we have over here to percentages. Sometimes we want to work around with percentages to compare the values of different catalogs and different manufacturers to see how they work. So let's just go to our show value as, and when we go to this option, we have the percentage of a grand total. So when we click on this percentage of a grand total, what happens is that this changes all the values available into a percentage of grand total of the sales values we have available over here. So as you can see that 7.55 percentage of the A datum corporation is the total, and we can work around with different types of data available over here. You can see both vertically and horizontally all the totals add up to 100%. We have the percentages per manufacturer and the percentages per catalog as well. And we have, for example, the lease percentage of A datum corporation of 0.56 percentage on catalog of the whole 100 percentage of grand total sales. This is how we can access any types of sales percentages that are available to us in the given matrix. And it's very easy to see how this actually works around with, and how we can actually see the percentage of the different matrix dimensions. So let's just go over here. We have the option of percentage of column totals as well, and we have other options available. Let's just go for column right now. And as you can see, right now it's added to our columns now. So basically all the columns add up to 100%, including the total column. So instead of being both manufacturer and channel based, now it's only channel based percentages. So we can see that catalogs add up to 100%, and then online add up to 100% as well, resellers add up to 100% as well, and store add up to 100% as well. We can see that 7.32% of the sales is of catalog and A datum corporation of the whole 100% of catalog sales. And the same is for online. We can see that in A datum 9% of sales are of 100% of online sales. So if we want to find out the how much a manufacturer takes in a certain category of a channel, we can find out with these vertical options available over here. And when you click on an option, it highlights that option. For example, the store option is highlighted right now, and we can go back to our main page very easily as well. Another thing that we can do is we can have the percentage of total sales available over here as well, where all the sales are added up to rows. So basically, if we want to work on row based things, so we can basically just see how much A datum corporations add up to, and we're not basing our values on channels now, we're basing our values on our manufacturers now. And that's how easy it is to work with percentages. I hope you've understood how we can vertically and horizontally access our different percentages, and how we can access our percentages of our grand total as well. I hope you've understood the lesson, and I hope to see you in the next lesson as well. Thank you. Hello and welcome. Hello, my name is Kazanfer and welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we'll be learning about multi-row visualization. Now, what are multi-row visualizations and how they work around is something that we're going to understand in this lesson, and we're going to work around with. Hello, my name is Kazanfer and welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we'll be learning about multi-row visualizations. Now, what are multi-row visualizations? They're basically something similar to our table matrix, and a mixture of cards as well. So it's a good way to visualize your data on multi-row visualizations, and we're going to be learning more about it right in this lesson. Let's go to our Microsoft Power BI desktop, and under the visualizations tab over here, we go to our multi-row card option. Now, why is it called a multi-row card? When you click on it, it shows us basically a visualization that resembles basically card, and it's like a card visualization. That's why it looks like a multi-row card visualization. And that's how it works. When you look at the tab over here, it shows fields areas, unlike the matrix which shows elsewhere. And as you can see, we've entered matrix, order quantity, and we're entering profit as well. So unlike the card visualization, this visualization is pretty easy to see. Instead of showing us the sum, it shows us different unique counts of the different profits and order quantities by manufacturers. Thus, it is very useful because if you want to see the unique count in like a card shape, we don't have to go to the card visualization and actually segregate our data differently. All we can do is come to our multi-row card visualization area over here, and we can work around with data along over here. So it's very easy to see the formatting options available over here. We have the data labels, we have our categories, we have the card titles, which you can change. You can increase the size, font size, you can decrease the font size, you can go to the card, you can change the values inside the cards, of course. You can easily look at the card values, and you can even add a title and center it to the middle um, after like switching it on. And of course you can center it to the middle and align the cards according to align the title, of course, to your multi-row. But we don't need a multi-row card title right now. You can easily work around with background and change the colors as well. You can add a blue background to the multi-row visualization. However, we do not need that right now. White seems pretty well, and it looks well as well. So I think that's all we need right now. We can go to our general settings, and over here you can work around with our width, height. You have the borders, you have more options available over here underneath the background itself. So it's pretty easy to see how you can um, work around these options, including your card or your title options. And you can change the outline and change it according to. Hello, my name is Gazanfer Adnan, and welcome to this lesson of card visualization. In the previous lesson, we learned about the multi-row visualization where it was a card but basically with rows and dimensions. So the card visualizations are a little more simpler. They only have one magnitude of value, so they're pretty easy to use. So let's go to our Microsoft Power BI dashboard, and over here we have the multi-row visualization that we had last time as well. Let's just remove this. Okay, so we had our visualizations from before as well. Uh, Over here, as you can see, it was a pretty easy way to visualize our data if we have more rows. But for now, let's delete that. And over here, we have the card value. So when you select the card value, an example graph pops up. And in the fields area, the thing about cards is that you can add only one magnitude or value. So right now I prefer to add profit. So when we add profit, as you can see, this value comes up. We can decrease the size or increase the size of the card. Doesn't really matter, but according to your space, of course, you do what you like. And as you can see, there's a format option. Let's go through that. Uh, I prefer to keep the there's an auto data label, but you can like display the units to none. Like as you can see, if you have this auto off and keep it to none, it gives you the exact value, but keeping it auto is the efficient way of doing it, and it gives you a round figure. However, you can choose to keep them in millions or maybe billions, but let's just go back to our auto value so it decides itself to the most round figure. Then we have other options such as category. We have the word wrap. The title is off right now. I prefer that we do keep a title, of course, as maybe profit or whatever we like. You can do that if you prefer it, of course. You can choose to switch the category off. When you turn the category off, what happens is that the label over here, it goes away. So you can focus more on your title. Maybe you want the title to be aligned to the middle. Maybe you want it big size so the card looks better. You like the format and you like working with it more. So let's look through the more options. You have the background option. You can choose to maybe put a color behind. Maybe you like the blue scheme. Yeah, that looks good. You can also choose the lock aspect, the general, and other options that you might know. You can increase the stroke or switch it off. You can increase the radius and make your card look like this, which looks pretty good as well. So let's work through with making more cards as well. Let's click on this. And maybe I like this feature. So what I do is I control C and I control B and I have more options over here. So increasing my cards right now. It's better I copy and paste rather than taking these out. I'd also like to maybe work around with, maybe I want to work with sales. So instead of closing it, I put the sales and I just change the title, because what happens many of the times is when you take them out, your format messes up. So you wouldn't want to do that. So as you can see, I have the profit, I have the sales. I can maybe copy and paste it again. So I'll have one more. And as you see, you can, these lines help me in aligning them as well. So what if I want to know the order quantity? I just do this and I go to my title, change the order quantity, which makes it easy to understand. So here I have all my cards values and they're pretty easy. Let's suppose they were aligned like this. So what I do is, if I want them all aligned, is I choose my control and I click to select all of them. And when I choose the format option, I get option to align them. Align them to the left maybe. And as you can see, they're aligned. And if I want to distribute them, I can distribute them vertically as well. So they're distributed at equal lengths. To make my cards stand out even more, I can add a shape behind. So you can go to your home and there's option of inserting many things. Let's add a shape, maybe a rectangle. So what I can do is increase the size. I know that my cards can fit in this. So I take this and of course I increase it a little more and I decrease it from here. Okay, so I've got my rectangle and under the format option, I get the option of sending it backward. And after doing that, it looks like it didn't go backward, but when you click back on your sheet, it did. But what happens many of the time is that backward does not actually mean it goes behind all the card visualizations. What you have to do is send to back. And when you click on it, all your card visualizations are under here. And maybe you can choose to decrease this, and it looks pretty good for now. Maybe you want to change the rectangles line and you don't want a line. So that's another thing that you can do as well. So basically that was our lesson about our card visualization. I hope you enjoyed that lesson and I hope to see you in the next lesson as well. Hello and welcome to this lesson, and We finally come to the conclusion to our chapter of matrix and card visualizations. We've learned a lot regarding our matrix and how matrix have different types of dimensions and how they're different from tables. We've also learned about our card visualization and how the multi-card row visualizations is very helpful to display different manufacturing values or any other profit or sales values that we can. So I hope you've understood the different contents of matrix and multi-card values, and I hope to see you in the next lessons as well.